PETA, podcast every day in April, where during the month of April you'll hear about different topics and different stories and discussions that I have on my mind and on my heart to discuss and address for this month. It may be sports related, it may be stuff related. You may even hear some guests on the show that you may haven't even seen or heard from me addressing on the show. But this is PETA, and this is Podcast Every Day in April. Hope you enjoy. What is good, y'all? Episode 181 of The Past is here. I'm your host, BT, doing yet another episode. Go ahead and get right into it. And since we're doing podcasts constantly for each day for the month of April, I feel like this is a good topic to kind of chop it up about and address a little bit. Now, before I do that, I want to share one thing because I know it was supposed to happen yesterday and I was initially looking to do it today, but I'll go ahead and get it out of the way now. The weekly sports episode will be done this week. It will be on Saturday though. I will go ahead and invest Saturday in just focusing on giving y'all a good 2 or 3 hour, 1.5 hour max mix regarding all this that's going on in sports. It'll be helpful too because a couple of days of the NFL draft will have completed, so that'll be beneficial for that. So since we've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about today's topic. So every day, we all, whether we realize it or not, have 24 hours. What we do and how we utilize those 24 hours is up to us. I will be the first to admit, and I will be honest in sharing with you all, that I'm not very good with managing time. And a lot of times, the hardest point of managing time is when you have free time. An idle mind is a dangerous tool. I know it's other ways that people use that quote to make that message, but literally you start to learn that you have to take advantage of the time that you have to do what you're able to do. I was introduced to a feature or a program called Pomodoro. Now, Pomodoro, the term itself refers to tomatoes, like little tomatoes, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the exact definition right offhand, but mainly refers to tomatoes as far as, and they like the initial display that they have for it is it's a timer. So anyone who does cooking, who cooks or whatever, they will utilize a timer. It's a kitchen timer, and it's known as the Pomodoro kitchen timer, and it's the benefit in helping with time management. Now, these timers that they show, you can set for various lengths or intervals, up to an hour, which is fine, all well and good. But we today, when it comes to looking at doing something like, okay, I'm going to work on something for an hour, our habit or our nature is, okay, I'm going to focus on this for 1 full hour and just push it out and get it done. There are pros and cons to that. One of the biggest pros that you would automatically think of is I'm investing my time in working on something in my craft or something that I love or that I have a passion for. You get every bit of praise and props for that being the case. The problem is, in doing so, you're then not resting your mind in the midst of you working on what you're working on. So Pomodoro technique presents what's known as, I call it a cool down, where you spend, instead of it being a full solid hour, it's 50 minutes of work and 10 minutes of cool down. But the cool downs are all of this time is separated. So how it works is you do 25 minutes working on whatever you're working on. Once that 25 minutes is capped, you get a reminder or alert notification to say, okay, you're done, stop. So when you stop, you get 5 minutes to cool down. That cool down time is for you to, if you want to get on your phone and chill, if you want to think about something else, get up, take a walk, take a break, utilize that 5 minutes to do so. Once that 5 minutes has completed, Then you go back to your task and you continue for the next 25 minutes. Now, I have seen where if you do this, one of the ways that I saw it set up was once it's gone through the rotational time period, it did 25, 5, 25, 5, 25, 5, and then I think the last one it was 25, and then it did 15. Because what happens is you don't want your mind to overwork itself in that sense, especially if you're tiptoeing or practically going into a 2-hour phase of working. Because by that point, if you've done 4 sets of 25, factoring in the 5-minute breaks, that last break, you getting a 15-minute break doesn't hurt. So I'm sharing this with everyone today because it's something that I didn't think would work, but I've been utilizing it with doing various things such as reading, writing, working on things related to my podcast, and it's the best thing for me. Now, it may not be your thing, and I won't knock you if it's not, but it's helpful to get a routine, to get some type of a pattern down. And a lot of times the hardest thing for people to do, and this is going to add to the time management piece that I've personally learned. As hard as it is to do, if you're working on something, take time in putting your phone into not just silent mode, but in do not disturb. It's going to sound crazy, but you'll be fine. I know a lot of times people look at it as, well, my phone's going to go off and I want to get this information and get notifications for X, Y, and Z. And that's great. I have no knock against that. I have no conflict, no issues with that whatsoever. That being said, you also want to take time and disconnect, because the truth is, and whether people want to hear it or not, that couple of minutes or moments that you're away from social media or away from your phone, you really aren't missing anything drastic. It's some things that can come up during that time that you may want to know about, but for the most part, you just want to kind of let things come together. So I'm just sharing that with you all. If you have a Android, if you have a phone, period, this isn't even Android or iPhone, look for Pomodoro app and just look for the different apps that they have that are available. For my phone, I was able to find one that's very convenient that I've started to use, and it's legitimately become like a very strong resource. It's called Be Focused Pro. So I initially was going to use the free version of it, and I was okay. But then I looked at it and I was thinking, okay, well, I want to try the Pro. I thought it was something, there was like a major difference between the two. But I mean, paying the $2 for it was supporting the developers. So I'm all for that by far anyway. But you legitimately just hit play. You set what the task is that you're working on, and you can record. It just starts going. Now with the Pro feature, I do know for that particular app, you can keep track of your time management through other devices. So if you're on another device and you log in with your account, it'll see that you actually did this much time. You've done the time period or the time management this many times or whatever, however the case is set up. So work on managing your time and managing your day better. I mentioned this before. I talked about Evernote. I didn't use Evernote too much in this podcast queue for April, but it's going to tie into this with your time management. If you're able to do to-do list, get acquainted with using to-do lists if you have Evernote, or if you have any app that can do to-do lists. Even Google, people may not realize this. In Gmail, if you sign into your Gmail account, on the web-based version of Gmail, there's an option that shows to-do list. And you can list all the things that you need to work on and you got to do for the day. If it's go walking, writing, things of that nature, add them. Every day on my phone, on my calendar, I get a reminder to read and to write. The reason why it's important to do those two things is because those are two skills that you never want to lose, regardless of how young or how old you are. So I'm just sharing that to give you all a little bit of insight on just a better way of managing your time and managing your day. You're going to be working. You have we're all adults. We have lives. I get that. But when your free time comes in, even with taking care of kids, and I personally don't have kids, so I know it's a little different for me, but just in your time of managing your day and your routine, utilize that downtime to your advantage. And that's where doing to-do lists and making time of just channeling out everything around you is very resourceful. So that's what I'm going to leave y'all with today. Manage time better. Don't feel like you're blocking yourself into a bubble when doing it, because it could be something that may help you in the long haul. And as always, continue to keep listening. Any inquiries or requests, passpodcastbt@gmail.com. Websites are up. Website for the site is passpodcast.com. Episodes are uploaded to Spreaker.com, as well as the microphone being used is the Blue Yeti, and all of the information is in the show notes. Until next time, y'all take it easy. The Pass signing out. The one point of the show I don't like to reach, but every show must have an ending. So you have made it to the end of yet another episode of the podcast Every Day in April. Continue to tune in. These will be going on from April the 1st until April the 30th. And I will guarantee you that there will be plenty of content and more than enough information to share and address during this show. Thanks for tuning in.